What's up, guys? And we're back with another video, and this time it's steel. So we've already done the 5 other colors, and we're going to be jumping into probably one of the most powerful helper colors, I guess. I don't know. Steel has been so great in the set 3, and honestly, going into set 4, I don't think it's going anywhere. So we're going to go through those top 10 cards plus the 2 honorable mentions, so that if you don't have them in your collection, you know what to get, or at least know what to look out for. All right, so the first honorable mention, I'm going to cheat a little bit because we're on the last color. I can cheat. So we're going to actually do 2 different cards at this spot because honestly, right now, it's a toss-up between the 2. The first one is going to be Kaboom. Kaboom is 2 and inkable, and it deals 2 damage to chosen character or location. Steel struggles at times with some of the faster aggro decks, so having a early removal spell is pretty key. Now, Kaboom made a big impact in set 3, but the problem was towards the end of set 3, especially with the Amethyst style decks, everything has 3 defense. I foresee this still being an issue going into the set 4 stuff, but Emerald 2 still kills a lot of stuff. But if you're having problems with that, the other card that I'm kind of pairing with it, I guess you're going to get 13 cards this time. It's going to be Smash. So Smash is a 3-drop inkable, and it does 3 damage to target creature. Now, it can't go after locations like Kaboom can do, which is the reason why Kaboom's a little bit better in that sense. Also, Kaboom is 1 cheaper than Smash, so Smash is really good in set 1. Set 2, it kind of disappeared. Set 3, it's starting to make a comeback towards the end. So I'm kind of putting them together because realistically, you're probably going to have one or the other in your deck. So that's why those 2 are our first honorable mentions. All right, so as for the other honorable mention, I'm probably going to get some hate down in the comments. So let me know what you think on this one. It's Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell Giant Fairy is a 6-drop inkable, 4/5, taps for 2. But her biggest thing is when she comes into the field, she does 1 damage to all your opposing characters, as well as when she attacks and banishes a character, she can also do 2 more damage to another character. She's very, very strong. And the only reason she didn't make top 10 is she really didn't get played much in set 3. The problem with her is she needs to be shifted. And a lot of the decks that are using steel usually have other targets, like with Amber, you have your queen who can shift a little bit earlier. In other steel decks, Robin Hood is kind of taken her place because he can come out a turn earlier. So she kind of fell off the map in set 3. Now, the reason why she's on the list, though, not only because she's great, she's going to be really huge in set 4. So I believe in set 4, we're going to see a rise of her coming back because of the damage to all characters. And this is probably the other reason why we'll see, Grab Your Swords come back as well, which sadly, I'm going to spoil it now. Grab Your Swords did not make the top 10. All right, so top 10, we're starting with number 10. It's Benja. Benja is just a key great card here. We used to use Beast back in the day. When he came down, you could banish an item, but Benja's cheaper. So Benja is a 3-drop inkable 2/3, taps for 2 lore, and when Benja enters the field, you can destroy another item. This is huge. There's so many random good items running around, especially in the, Ruby Sapphire item style deck. It's great to have, 3 or 4 of these in your deck. And worst case, if there's no item, you just ink them. All right, so number 9, I think, honestly, this is I won't say a sleeper card because it's in a bunch of decks. I would say it's a sleeper card because I don't think a lot of people actually understand how good this card is. And this is Captain Hook. Captain Hook is a 1-drop inkable, 1/2, taps for 1 lore, but has Challenger 2. So this 1-drop, technically, when you're attacking, is a 3/2, which is very, very good in this format. It allows you to take out a lot of those X3s like we talked about earlier with Smash, and there are quite a few running around with Amethyst out on the field. So this is why Hook makes number 9, and honestly, when we talk about another card later, you'll understand why you probably need this in your deck. So number 8. Number 8 is going to be Strength of the Raging Fire. This has been one of the best removal spells, I guess, with steel. Of course, there's some other great ones, but as long as you have characters on the board, this card is going to be able to kill most things on the board. So the upside is it's a song. It can be sing, which means it's free in a lot of cases. It's 3-drop, it's inkable, so you can get rid of it if you don't need it. And when you sing this or cast this spell, it's going to do damage equal to the number of creatures you have. So this card is the one that really took the place of Smash because of the same cost. But again, this can scale up much more than that. You do need a board. So a lot of the steel decks are running a lot of the aggro type cards, a lot of little cards coming out. So this is usually a 3 in most cases, but you know, you can get it above that if need be. So number 7. Number 7 is Beast. This is Beast Tragic Hero. Is a 5-drop inkable 3/5, taps for 2 lore. And this card is very good. Now, I undervalued this card when it was first spoiled, but the fact that when it comes down, and it does have shifts, so technically you can get out early with, one of the other beast, or there is a new steel beast that's a 3-drop, or, a morph or something like that. But at the beginning of your turn, if he has no damage on him, you're going to get to draw an extra card. This is actually really, really helpful. And as we talked about in the Emerald decks, he is a Floodborn. So he is also going to trigger Bucky, which is why we're seeing him being used quite a bit right now in set 3, especially going into set 4. So if you don't have Beast, it's going to hurt the wallet. He is very expensive right now, but he is a very great card. Just make sure when you're building your deck, if you can't get this card, you can't afford the card right now, just kind of build around him. There's not a great replacement for him outside of if you're an Emerald. I guess technically you could put Donald Duck in there, but it's not really the same thing. All right, so number 6, Let the Storm Rage On. This is another card that really made its mark in this last set, making it to where you can do 2 damage to a creature or a character and draw a card. It is a 3-drop and it's non-inkable. The non-inkable is the hard part about this card, but it's 3. It's fairly cheap, and you're going to get to draw a card when you use it. So this card is really, really good, and a lot of decks have been running this. It's also a song, so again, anytime an action's a song, it's going to get that 1-up because you can, cast it for free essentially on some of the turn. On to number 5, and this is a card that literally has decks built all around it, and this is A Whole New World. Now, if you're from the Magic world and you like Wheel of Fortune, that's what this is. It is a 5-drop. It's non-inkable. It is a song, so you can also sing it. And both players discard their hands and draw 7 cards. Now, there's been some fun decks floating around with this card where you're trying to mill out your opponent or essentially make them to where they have no cards in deck. If you have no cards in deck and try to draw, you lose the game. So it's some fun in there. It also allows you, if you're playing a very aggro or very quick deck and you have no hand, you can essentially get 7 new cards. Now, you do give your opponent other cards, so just be aware of that. If your opponent has 1 card, you may not want to play it because you don't want to give them a full set of 7, but the benefits may outweigh that if you can take more advantage of getting those 7 new cards. So A Whole New World, it's a great card. It's been there since set 1. Again, right this second, don't see it as much in the meta, but Steel Song's always a thing, and this is a key card in that particular. Number 4 is And Then Along Came Zeus. So this is probably, honestly, one of the best removal spells in the game. It is a 4-drop, non-inkable, but it is singable because it's a song, and it does 5 damage to a character or a location. This has become a really big staple because it can take down things like Sad Beast in one shot. Most of the other cards that you're going to be seeing, characters, there's not many that are above 5 that are being played right now. There's a few, but there's not many. And the fact that they hit locations. So yeah, some locations have a lot of defense on them, but if you can essentially take out 2/3 of their defense, so a little 2-power character can finish it off, it's pretty huge. This card's been great, and I've loved it in all the decks. It's usually a 3 or 4 of in most of them. So just keep in mind, this is one of the cards that has some value on it. It's not beast value, but it does have some value related to it. And having a playset is a good thing. All right, so going into the top 3, yeah, I'm sure, like we did at the beginning, I'm sure some people are going to say, why is this below that or whatever? But keep in mind, I'm also looking at where cards are playable, how many decks they're playable in, and things like that. So number 3 is Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. Yeah, this card is so good. And the reason why this card is so good is it has a very low shift cost. So he's a 5-drop inkable, 3/6, taps for 2 lore. He can shift for 3, and then as he banishes a character, you get to gain 2 lore. So essentially, he's questing even when he's, taking out a 2/3 or something like that on the board. He also has some other text that says if he's banished in combat, you're going to get to draw a card. So he can also kind of replace himself as well. So this card is really, really good because of all those factors. So, he's being played in a lot of decks because you can shift him out early because he has that shift 3. And this is the reason why he's higher than Beast currently, because realistically, he's being played in way more steel decks than Beast Tragic Hero at the moment. All right, so for number 2, along those same lines is Robin Hood, but this is the Little Robin Hood. So this Little Robin Hood is a 1-drop 2/2 and taps for 1 lore. Pretty basic of a card. It's weird that he is above all of your other rares and stuff like that, but honestly, this card is in almost every deck. It is a great 1-drop just because it's the 1-drop inkable 2/2, but anytime you have the big Robin Hood, you have the Little Robin Hood. A lot of times with the big Robin Hood, you have 3 of in a deck. This Little Robin Hood, always a 4 of in the deck. Again, like I said, it's kind of weird that this one is making number 2, but honestly, it's just such a great card in a bunch of different decks. And it doesn't matter how you're playing your decks. He tends to be in there if you have steel just because of his value on there. So this is the reason why he kind of eked out his bigger self for the number 2 slot, because I think that having these 1-drops is very important for your collection. And that takes us to the number 1 card. And yeah, I'm curious if you guessed this, but it's Smee. So this is another card, which maybe I'm just bad at evaluating steel cards, but this is another one of those cards. When I first saw it spoiled, I was like, well, this card is terrible. But the more I've played it, the more I've realized how great this card is. So Smee is a 2-drop inkable. He is a 3/3. He taps for 2, but his downside is at the end of your turn, if he is exerted and you don't have a captain on the field, he takes 1 damage. Now, we talked about Captain Hook earlier in the video, and this is your pairing. Captain Hook on 1, Smee on 2, maybe another Smee on 3, or on 3 you're playing your Captain Hook or something like that. Maybe you didn't play him on turn 1. And so now Smee is a 3/3, and every time he taps, he's not taking damage, and he's so good. When you pair Steel with something like Amethyst, you're able to quest with your Smee, take a couple damage on him, and then pick him back up with a Madam Mim to reset him. There's a lot of different things that you can do here, but this card is just so good. He tends to get you 4 to 6 lore every single game, and even if they don't like it, they're going to have to use a good removal spell or actually send one of their really good characters into your Smee to try to take him out. So this is the reason why Smee is the number 1. Pretty much him plus Captain Hook is in almost every steel deck, and yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. The steel decks may shift a little bit in set 4, but that combo alone pretty much should guarantee him a spot in some steel deck going into set 4. All right, guys, so that was the steel set, and I appreciate all you guys for sticking around through these videos. And we do plan on releasing these videos as the new sets come out so that we can keep these things updated with all of the cards that you should have in your collection. Now, again, like I said in the very first video of this series, it's always great to have all the cards so you can build whatever, but I did want to highlight some of the best cards in each of the colors to make sure that as you're building your collection and maybe you're getting new, you're new to the game and things like that, you know what to kind of go after or look for, whether it's opening packs, drafting, or just buying singles. And speaking of buying singles, we are an official affiliate of TCG Player. So if you're looking to buy any of these cards, down below in the description, we have our link. So please use that link. It helps us. It helps grow this channel because we get our little commission that doesn't add anything to your cart. So yeah, appreciate it if you guys use that. Appreciate you guys for liking, subscribing, leaving a comment. And again, we've got that giveaway going on until next week. So make sure leave a comment down below if you're wanting to win one of those free starter decks. And yeah, appreciate you guys so much. Till next time, let's take it easy.